Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I got a number of things to talk about with you here today. On the XRP front here, we've got Sendfriend, which is a Ripple partner. They're going to be launching their new product this month. I got some details on that, as well as an article I'll get a few quotes from to share with you. We've got new features on RippleNet. Got a few details on that for you. Ripple released earlier today. It's what one of the Ripple employees is calling a mini documentary about a Philippines worker affected by slow remittance, and so that's a fun piece I'll share with you as well. On the non-XRP front, I'm going to talk to you about the creator of Bitcoin, Craig Wright. Just kidding. Have you guys heard about this guy? He claims to be Satoshi Nakamoto, and he might be going to jail. He committed perjury, apparently. So I've got a story that claims that anyway, and I'm going to share it with you. Also, in the non-XRP front, there's been Coinbase news, actually. First, let me say this. Coinbase, they have announced their numbers in terms of custody for institutional buyers, and the numbers are staggering, especially since this is just brand new, relatively speaking. Their offering for custody, it's not that old. So anyway, I'm going to cover what they've announced recently. And then finally, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about market indicators, in particular with active Bitcoin addresses. Highest levels we've seen since towards the end of 2017. And as we all know, as Bitcoin rises more or less, so do all of the altcoins, which includes XRP. And I want to say, one day, Bitcoin will be the altcoin. XRP will be number one. Mark my words, one day it will be number one in market cap. We'll see. Or unless you think I'm too enthusiastic, you let me know. You let me know below. But before we get going here, please delicately type that like button, but don't smash it. That thing is freaking delicate and it's expensive to replace. I'm not paying for it. You smash that thing, you break it, you buy it, all right, guys? I'm sorry, tough love, but that's just how it goes, all right? And also, please subscribe. I don't know how to say this, but I'm kind of a big deal. People know me. I own many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany. On to the content. So here's this email. I got this from Reddit. It's an email sent from Sendfriend, and it's David here at the bottom. He's the one that signed it. He's the CEO, and I think he was the founder of Sendfriend also. Again, U.S.-based remittance company. And I'm going to read this brief email. It's only a few sentences. It says, "Hello. Thank you for joining us on our journey to a new era of fair remittances. We are finally nearing our official launch after months of hard work developing our product. The official launch will be at the Philippine American Friendship Community." Oh, that sounds nice. PAFCOM. Parade and festival on Sunday, June 23rd. Though we are currently limited to only New Jersey customers, we will be adding new states as quickly as we can. We are also offering free transfers for the whole month of June. Come send with us to make sure your money ends up with your loved ones, not in the pocket of remittance companies. We're excited to have you on this journey with us. Signed, David and the whole Sendfriend team. So they got their new product that they've been working on. It's, again, Ripple partner. Just days away, June 23rd. So that'll be next week that they're actually officially launching it. And check out this piece having to do with Sendfriend. It's titled, this is from EthereumWorldNews.com. Sendfriend unleashes xRapid for faster and cheaper payment to the Philippines. And it states, Ripple's race to dominate the global remittance market has now touched down in the Philippines. The blockchain company working alongside Sendfriend is pushing Ripple's cross-border remittances services to the Southeast Asian nation. Sendfriend, in partnership with xRapid, which of course we know uses XRP, will introduce cheap cross-border money transfers for overseas Filipino workers in the United States. In a tweet from Sendfriend, they recently stated, "Sending money to the Philippines has never been easier. How do we do it? By using blockchain technology to innovate the money transfer process. We use the xRapid network, which does use XRP. However, right now, you can't send enterprise payments using Sendfriend, only personal payments. It's on the roadmap for the future, though." Now, that made my ears perk up, okay, that last part in particular. So we've known about Sendfriend for a while. It's neat to see that they're actually launching their product on June 23rd. Very cool development. Very awesome. We know they're using xRapid and XRP. They're starting with remittances that are going to the Philippines. Low-hanging fruit I've talked about in past videos, so I'm not going to dwell on that topic, or that point too much anyway. But this is cool. Look at what they stated. You can't send enterprise payments using Sendfriend, only personal payments. It's in the roadmap for the future, though. So they see so much opportunity out there. Thanks to the technology that Ripple has been developing, entrepreneurs are doing what entrepreneurs do. They're seizing opportunity to make a buck. And what does that do? That helps the world at large. It helps the customers. They're providing a valuable service here. It's a better customer service than a traditional means of moving money across borders, and it's cheaper. Everything about it is much more pleasant. Thank you, Ripple, right? And so this is cool stuff, but you can see what they're heading for. I mean, this is where they're starting, but the companies, I'm telling you, that are getting the ground floor here, that are being truly disruptive, they have great opportunity to become really big names, really big competitors within this space, within their particular industry, in terms of remittances, utilizing Ripple's technology. And so, yeah, we're starting with the low-hanging fruit. As we know, there's the two corridors I keep talking about because that's what Ripple's really pushing right now, which is U.S. to Mexico and then U.S. to Philippines. And it's for remittances for general folk, more on the retail customer side, if you will, but absolutely enterprise use is coming as well. Because money's moving across all borders, all sorts of different ways. And like I said in the past, the more banks in between, the bilateral banking chain of relationships, the more fractured the system and the more costly it is, the more time it takes to move the money across borders. So it's going to be fantastic for enterprise use as well. That is awesome because the more businesses that are doing this, the more XRP has to be about, the more it has to move. It's just, you know what that's going to do for price. It's simple supply and demand. And so for me, as an XRP holder, who is obviously enthusiastic, I'm not a hype machine by any means, but I am enthusiastic and I think I'm realistic about it. I see this being absolutely huge. I think XRP is going to be worth a lot more in the future. It is not financial advice, though, because I have no financial background whatsoever. I'm just an XRP enthusiast, but I love seeing this news, and you should too if you're an enthusiast of XRP. Says me. That's my opinion, my very humble opinion here. And take a look at their website. Look at how this works, though. So say you are one of these people that's sending money back to your family from the United States to the Philippines. If you go to the Sendfriend's website, which is sendfriend.io, and I've got it pull up on the screen here, it's the coolest freaking thing because does this say anything about Ripple? Well, technically it does, but I'll show you that. Does it say anything about buying or holding cryptocurrency or xRapid? Well, no, the customer doesn't even have to freaking know that. So if you go to the bottom of the page here, it shows their partners, and you got, right here where I'm circling, partners and investors. You got Ripple, which is obviously, I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's why this is all being discussed on my channel now. Coins.ph, they're the xRapid partner that is an exchange in the Philippines, Coins.ph. And then Mint Media Lab, not sure who they are. Everybody's heard of Barclays, right? Not sure in what capacity they're involved with Sendfriend and Techstars. And 8 Decimal Capital, haven't heard of them either. But the two that are pertinent to this video, it's Ripple and Coins.ph, because that's where liquidity is being sourced, essentially. It's Coins.ph, and they're, again, the official Ripple xRapid partner. And so that's cool to see. But again, if you're somebody that wants to just send money from the United States to the Philippines, you can go to the top here. What was it on the top? There's a sign up button somewhere. I can't. Oh, there we go. You have to scroll down and then it pops up. I don't know why. I don't like that. But anyway, yeah, you can click on sign up now and then get your stuff moving. But the point is, the reason that something like this is going to be adopted quicker than something like Bitcoin, for example, which is the first cryptocurrency, and their use case is peer-to-peer value transfers without a central authority. Okay, that's fine. But there's a higher barrier for adoption for something like that. There really is, because for this, you can join. You can sign up with a traditional remittance company, and if they're using the xRapid software, you get all of the benefits. You get the quicker payments, and you get the cost savings as well. And that's what Sendfriend is offering, and that's what's so cool. So that's why I've said in the past here, and this is just a really good illustration that I've said that although peer-to-peer cryptocurrency is the first use case that anyone came up with. Satoshi Nakamoto came up with it. Or should I say Craig Wright? He invented it, right? That was the first use case, peer-to-peer cryptocurrency. But I think that remittances have a chance of being adopted on a very global scale before the use case of a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency becomes a reality on any notable scale whatsoever. And that's what I find fascinating. That's why you see these remittance companies coming out, and people just get to adopt it, and if it's better for them, then it's better for them, and that's the coolest thing. Now, this is a next subject, but it kind of relates. So check that. Here's a quote from, or a tweet from Ripple, rather. It says, "Watch at Crypto CWY explained the newest features on RippleNet, including faster integration, multi-hop, and on-demand liquidity on the Ripple drop. And of course, I'll link this below so you can watch it. I like these little videos. I don't know if you guys do, but they're fun. They're typically anywhere from like a minute and a half to 2 minutes or so. And this one, and this was cool. You know what my favorite thing that I heard about this within this video? They're talking about how if you are a Ripple partner and you're moving your financial institution, your bank, whatever you are, and you're moving money cross borders, you get to see, and this is facing the financial institution, not the retail investor. Although you could retail investor, they can use XRP however they want. But I'm just saying for Ripple's use case, they've got the software that's facing the banks, facing the financial institutions. And what happens is when they're considering how to conduct a transaction, they actually get a quote. And with the new RippleNet features here, it seems super easy to do a quick price comparison. So it'll show what the cost will be for you if you're Mr. Financial Institution, or specifically a bank. You can see here's the cost through traditional means. So maybe that means that Ripple, they're a Ripple customer, but maybe they're only using xCurrent at the time, xCurrent currently, if you will. But they can see the cost by, again, facilitating what it is by traditional means. Because again, it's not actually, I shouldn't even say traditional, because xCurrent, it does utilize blockchain, and that's the messaging portion. But the new part, xRapid, that's what actually uses XRP, as we well know. So they can actually do a cost comparison of just utilizing xCurrent, while the traditional side of that actually would be they're sourcing liquidity through banks, and then you have to have those Nostro Vostro accounts, which means just pre-funded accounts, so that these transactions can happen, because these relationships, they do require trust. It's not a trustless system like the XRP ledgers, right? So they're going to see that quote, which is, again, xCurrent, source liquidity from banks, and you have to have the partnership there to chain of bilateral banking relationships. They see the price for that, and then alongside it, they see the cost for the same transfer, but using XRP via xRapid. Now, isn't that cool? Because if you're sitting there and you're Mr. Financial Institution or Mr. Bank, what are you going to do? How long are you going to stare at those when you're conducting these transactions on a daily basis multiple times before you're like, maybe I should use this XRP thing? Because it doesn't even put them at risk in terms of regulatory uncertainty, specifically as it pertains to KYC and AML requirements. So KYC being know your customer, and AML being anti-money laundering. Because those the regulatory requirements they're already handled on the ends of the exchanges. And the bank doesn't, the bank or the financial institution, they don't even have to hold XRP in the first place. The liquidity can be sourced through a partner like CoinsPH, which I cited earlier, because transactions are being facilitated, buys and sells, on the actual exchange. And so how long, if you are a customer of Ripple and you're only using xCurrent, and then you're staring in the face, I can do transactions with xCurrent, source liquidity traditionally, or I can use xCurrent with xRapid and source it through XRP, and it's X amount cheaper and faster. Which are you going to eventually choose? And so it's just making them stare at it right in their stupid faces, right? I'm teasing. They don't have stupid faces. I'm sure they're very attractive. They got to be ruggedly handsome. I bet they have really nice, distinctive jawlines. I'm sure they don't have stupid faces, right? But I think that's the coolest thing. So you should watch this video if you've got time. They also do talk a little bit about multi-hop, which basically, how best to describe this? It's basically, so if you've got banking relationships, and let's say you're not even using xRapid, maybe some of your partners are utilizing xRapid, and so they're utilizing the benefits, and so they're cutting down on a bunch of intermediaries. Just say, so again, you're a bank and you're not using xRapid, maybe you're using xCurrent, but your partner is using xRapid, and let's say that who you're trying to conduct a transfer with is like 7 hops away. So let's say that there's that many intermediary banks in between. Well, if that's the case, and your partner, one of the bank with which you trust, has existing relationship with Ripple, and they are utilizing xRapid, let's say they can cut down on 6 of those banking intermediaries. Well, that's what a multi-hop is. So it goes from the your Bank A, okay, and then it goes to your partner, Bank B, who have a trusted relationship. They're facilitating everything else with xRapid, and then as a result, you're getting the benefits without implementing xRapid, without holding any sort of cryptocurrency, without holding XRP, and that's what multi-hop's all about. So they talk about that a little bit, and they also talk about onboarding customers. It's not the case that if you sign up with Ripple, it's going to take weeks or months to begin using their technology. They've got it down to the point where you can actually begin using xCurrent and xRapid typically within a matter of days. So, and that's on Ripple's side. Now, of course, if you've got your own product that you're building from scratch, like for instance, Sendfriend, they cited that they were building their platform for months and months and months. That is separate from it. But in terms of plugging in Ripple's xCurrent and xRapid software, it's a matter of days. So it's not that time intensive, not that labor intensive. And in a fast-paced world that's moving as quickly as this in terms of technology, that's good news. I like hearing that. Here's the next piece here. This is from Ripple employee Reinhard Kate. He's the one that's in the Ripple Drops, basically interviewing, well, a lot of times like actually other Ripple employees, but whoever it may be. And he tweeted this out earlier today. Probably one of the things I'm most proud of doing at Ripple, got to direct and edit this mini doc. The story is especially meaningful for me. My mom is originally from the Philippines and left the country and her family for work. And so here's what it states here, and I watched this thing too. It's a little under 2 minutes. This is worth watching, and Reinhard actually did a really great job, I think, editing this and just putting everything. If he did, especially if he did by himself, I like the music, the cool transitions in terms of just from an editing perspective. But it tells a cool little story, and it really makes clear the need for Ripple's mission, what they're doing. It makes it real clear why they're, first of all, finding broad success in particular with xCurrent at first, and we're seeing more and more businesses, obviously, on board with xRapid, but it makes real clear the need to fix this fractured monetary system in terms of cross-border transactions. And it's really clear why I need XRP as a bridge currency in particular. And for the messaging side with xCurrent, really, you need both. Because that just completely eliminates layers of human management. And that's where a lot of the cost savings come, by the way, in case you weren't aware. Like, how does it say, well, okay, XRP, obviously it's quick, it's cheap, and all that. But on top of that, especially on the messaging side, you don't need all these humans doing all of this labor anymore. It just cuts costs. It just does. So check this out. Here's what they stated. I'm going to jump down this part. So they talk about Joyce. This video, it's about a woman named Joyce who is from the Philippines, and she took a job in Dubai. It was a 2-year contract, and she doesn't really get to see her kids back home until then. She's working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and moving money is a pain in the rear for her. So it states, as a single mother, Joyce de Guzman needed a job to support her family and put her 2 young daughters through school, something that seemed unlikely at home in the Philippines. I want my daughters to become professionals someday, Joyce said. This is my dream. This is my goal. She accepted a job in Dubai that required a minimum 2-year commitment, meaning she would only see her daughters after the contract ends. In Dubai, Joyce works 12 hours a day. I'm sorry, I already said this. I didn't know I'd be rereading it literally like the same thing. In Dubai, Joyce works 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and spends as much time as she can texting and chatting with her daughters. On her single day off, she spends hours commuting, standing in lines and completing complicated forms at her local payment provider to send money home. It's not easy to send the money, she said. I go to the shop, then I get in line. Then I need information about the sender. 2 hours like this. Even more troubling is that she does not receive a confirmation if and when payment is delivered. Her daughters often travel back and forth to and from the bank several times, paying for transportation each way before finally receiving the money their mother sent. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Joyce says that a more efficient solution would allow her and other Filipinos who send money home more time to actually rest on their days off, as well as provide her daughters more money to go towards school and pay expenses. So the reason I wanted to highlight this is it's good to see the human impact. I've said before in videos, but this is the best opportunity I've ever had to really illustrate this with a real human story. But I've said Ripple is a force for good, and that's why I've made the point in the past. If you are a Bitcoin maximalist, and you are anti-Ripple, and you are anti-XRP, that is bad. That's it. That's like, it's kind of evil in a way. And maybe they're not evil people trying to, they just view the world from my perspective, a wrong, very incorrect, closed-minded type of way. But Ripple is absolutely a force for good. And it's a shame to me that if Bitcoiners, maximalists in particular, if they could snap their fingers, they'd wipe XRP off the face of the planet. And then people like Joyce here, They wouldn't be able to benefit from the incredible life-changing technology, and it's not too much to say that the incredible life-changing technology that Ripple has to offer, because, look, when you're talking about saving customers, bank customers, upwards of 70%, a ton of that's going to get passed along. What do you think that's going to do for the poorest people on the planet? Because that's who's being helped first. That's what we're talking about. And that's what Bitcoin maximalists don't want to happen. That is bad, you know? And and their poor little Bitcoin maximalist egos, you know, they're that threatened by XRP, and I think that's why we're seeing it. I think that's why we're seeing this. And it's nothing against Bitcoin. I'd say myself and many other people within the XRP community, we're pro-Bitcoin if it can gain traction. I'm not anti-Bitcoin. Own all the Bitcoin that you want. They're the market leader right now. Got it. The most brand recognition, if you will. But it doesn't make sense to be a maximalist of any coin. People want different things from their cryptocurrencies. They just do. Cryptocurrencies all have different attributes. And so I have a hard time kind of like accepting such a mind frame, you know, that it's Bitcoin or bust. And so many people out there have it. And I think it's not insightful. It's anti-intellectual. And I think that most of it stems from like a really, really bizarre ideology of the world, in many cases where it's down with banks and down with government, and I do not subscribe to that. I absolutely do not. I think that banks are a source for good. I really do. By and large, you can, like I said in the past video, you can find bad apples in any crowd. Most banks, though, most banks are small businesses. Most banks are small businesses, so they're employing people. You know, they're employing your neighbors, your community members, and then that allows the people that work there to you know, raise families. And, you know, they're a source for good. There's actual use for them. And so to just say blatantly, like a blanket statement that all banks are bad, I can't get behind you if that's your ideology. And it's a shame that some people feel that way. But banks, by and large, are good. They are. They just are, you know? All right, I'll get off my soapbox. Next year, that was the end of the XRP news, but check this out. This is kind of funny. I really, to be honest, I hadn't been following this too much, but this is the Craig Wright story. Craig Wright, creator of Bitcoin. All right, so this is from CryptoSlate.com. Self-proclaimed Bitcoin creator Craig Wright committed fraud according to Florida court documents. And there's only a couple parts I want to read about this, because, again, I haven't been following this story too intensely. I've just kind of somewhat passively read and thought about this, just because there's so much going on about it within the Twitter sphere, if you will. And, you know, how could I have not come across it with how active I am on there? But especially in terms of, like, lurking. On Twitter, I do post, but I kind of, lately, I've been lurking more than I've been posting, to be honest. Just kind of retweeting some stuff. But here's the part that I wanted to share with you. So, here we go. Here's the little subtitle within this piece here. Wright allegedly lied about his involvement in a Florida company he and Kleiman owned. So Kleiman was a business partner that he had, and they were mining Bitcoin. All right. The lawsuit against Wright alleges that he and Dave Kleiman mined over 1.1 million Bitcoins through their jointly owned company called W&K. And that after Kleiman's death, Wright took unlawful possession of all the Bitcoins and intellectual property of the company. After receiving a complaint from Ira Kleiman, that's the deceased Dave Kleiman's brother, Ira Kleiman, Wright filed a motion with an Australian court saying he had no connections to Florida or W&K. He then supported these claims with a sworn declaration stating he was never a shareholder, member, agent, employee, or representative of W&K. But most importantly, he swore under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States that he never exercised authority or control over W&K. Here's the key part, though. Check this out. It says, however, it was found that Wright submitted an affidavit to the Supreme Court of New South Wales where he confirmed that he owned 50% of W&K Into Defense LLC, while Kleiman owned the other 50%. And you can see it right here on the screen. There's a little graphic that they plugged in here. And so, again, with me not having followed this too intensely, and I don't know a ton about Craig Wright's actual background, I do know that he's claiming to have created Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin community at large rejects that. So, again, I haven't done my own research, so typically I like to hold off opinion until I've done my own research to confirm it. If I had to guess, though, that being said, if I had to guess, this guy didn't create Bitcoin. I mean, because he hasn't presented evidence. If he did, he'd be able to present it, and then it should be open and shut case down here. And this was funny here. This relates to it. There's this little tweet from somebody named Danny Knight. I don't know who that is, but he put out a 16-second video clip, hashtag fake Toshi, which I like. That's a fun hashtag. Slipping up here like he always does. And then here's the quote from him. I remember reading about it, and he's referencing Bitcoin. I think he was referencing the white paper. I watched this earlier today, but I think he was referencing the white paper, and he said, I remember reading about it. And then he quickly corrected, and he said, I mean, when I wrote it or something like that, it's 16 seconds. If you want to watch it. So, yeah, if you created Bitcoin and you're going to say, I remember reading about it, yeah, I don't think so. So, kind of an interesting story, and I wanted to share it with you. All right, okay, check this out. Here's a piece from Yahoo Finance, and it's titled, Remember MySpace? Underestimate Facebook crypto at your own peril. Now, I know I talked about Facebook and their Libra coin the last, probably couple of videos I believe I have. I'm not going to state the same stuff that I did in the last video. There's just another point that I wanted to make here, though. Let me read this little piece here first. Zuck eyeing the whole world, that's a little subtitle here, and then it states... To solve regulatory hurdles, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has held meetings with central bankers, government officials, and other regulators around the world. And just as Zuckerberg identified MySpace's weak points before dominating social media, he is doing the same with cryptocurrency. And with the partnerships that have been revealed, he is now assembling the arsenal. While there are properties of true cryptocurrencies that Facebook's digital currency does not threaten, such as a store value proposition and anonymity and deflationary features, it is a threat to crypto with regard to one feature that's a promising route to mass adoption, a fast, cheap medium for digital transactions. So I wanted to speak specifically how this relates to XRP because I think in the last videos I probably focused a little bit more about how it's not... I did cite how it's not competing with Bitcoin directly, not competing with XRP directly, and not competing with the United States dollar at all. But I wanted to focus a little bit more on how it's specifically not competing with XRP. And understand, again, we're 2 days away from Facebook releasing their white paper on this. We should learn a lot more about what they believe the use cases are going to be. But regardless, we know that stablecoins, 100% of them, are walled gardens. They're their own little networks, and one individual network is not going to take over the whole world as far as a medium for moving money, for moving the value transfer, right? It's just not going to happen. Okay, and so what are they looking to do? Well, the speculation certainly is that in terms of Facebook moving money with their customer base of, what is it, like 2.3 billion people? And I don't know how many are active, but anyway, it's billions of people have Facebook, which is freaking ridiculous. I mean, congrats. You pulled something off, Zuck. Cool. But look, that's going to move money across the... So they've got all these different social platforms, and that's about remittances within those social platforms. But I got to tell you, when it comes to moving money across borders, I don't have a stat pulled up, but it's banks, they're moving massive amounts of money. That's a whole different industry. Like, that is not what Facebook is targeting. I would be blown away if in 2 days when the white paper is released that they're like, yeah, we're going to take down Swift. I don't think so. And then you'd have to start from scratch building those relationships and the infrastructure, which Ripple's been doing for over half a decade now. So I don't really, and even at that, you'd still need a cryptocurrency that is actually decentralized, and it can't be a stable coin, because otherwise you're going to have geopolitical issues where who's going to trust it? Who's going to trust it? Everybody, they've got their own priorities, this and that, and that's the reason that we have the fractured banking system that we have today. But in terms of the difference between what Ripple's seeking to utilize XRP for versus what Facebook is seeking to position Libra for, it seems to be social media platform remittances. That's essentially what it is. But that's a lot different than moving millions of dollars from one bank to another in a matter of seconds. That's completely different, and it requires a whole different business model, and it requires a whole different set of relationship building. And Ripple's been doing that. So, could somebody in theory in this walled garden use money, move it across a Libra coin, and not use XRP? Technically, yes, but again, I want to be clear. Just because there's a minimal amount of crossover, it doesn't mean that Ripple's entire business model is threatened. there is technically a little bit of crossover, but it just doesn't matter. It's a different business model. It really, really, really does not matter. That's the same as saying that somebody could choose to use the U.S. dollar over traditional U.S. dollar, just straight up U.S. dollar, over Bitcoin. And, to what degree is that a threat? You can use one over the other, so there's crossover in terms of the use case. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency won't be adopted globally one day and actually used as a peer-to-peer means of moving value without a central authority. It doesn't mean that. Crossover doesn't mean that there's a winner-take-all, and that's the point that I wanted to make to you. It is not going to be a winner-take-all, even if, and that's an if, some people choose to use remittances on social media rather than going through Western Union or MoneyGram or going to their local credit union or whatever remittance company they might choose to use. There could, in theory, be some of that, but again, it's not their same business model, so it's not a threat. And that's an important point that I wanted to make for you. It's a very important distinction. So, long live XRP. I'm an XRP bull. It's going to be fine, in particular as it relates to Ripple's use case and how they want to utilize XRP. Just my opinion, not financial advice. I just think it's going to be fine. All right. Check this out. Here's a tweet from CoinDesk. This is from yesterday, by the way. The last time Bitcoin shot past 1 million daily active addresses was November of 2017. It just did it again, and that was yesterday, of course. And why does that matter? Well, I'd say that's a bullish indicator, wouldn't you? So look down here, and here's the article from CoinDesk about it. It states, Bitcoin just passed an interesting milestone today, one we haven't seen since November 27th, 2017. According to coinmetrics.io, there are now over 1 million daily active addresses, a number that is defined as the number of unique from or to addresses used per day. And why is this relevant? Well, as I stated towards the beginning part of this video, yeah, okay, fine. If you're listening to this, you're probably like me and you're pretty much an XRP bull. Like that's the thrust of what this channel is. And so I think that's probably the people that are being attracted to it. It's kind of what I'm looking for. Like, it's honestly, this is a hobby for me, running this channel. It's a lot of fun, and that's just genuinely what I'm interested in, and it's what I feel passion for because it's just so exciting to me. And part of the excitement is that I put money into it. Fine, that's I gotta be honest, that's a big chunk of it. I don't know that I'd be as thrilled about Ripple technology if I didn't have skin in the game, but that's probably the same for you too. And that does make it fun, as long as you're not being irresponsible and putting like your entire life savings in this, because then you're not gonna be able to sleep at night. So don't do that, But anyway, the reason that I find this fascinating is, again, XRP price, just like every other cryptocurrency, it moves in tandem with Bitcoin. Not to a T. There can be, for instance, consider this. So that crazy run-up we saw in 2017, I got to tell you, so Bitcoin is moving up the whole year, more or less, up and down, fine, volatile, but major upward trend from around $1,000, I want to say, at the beginning of 2017, and it ended the year at almost $20,000. Well, in May of that year, XRP, I'm just going from memory here, but I know this, it was around 42 cents or something like that, and then it went down as low as like 16 cents, and it was flat for more or less. The price was flat for about half a year, while Bitcoin was doing all this crazy price action especially in November and the first half of December, and then somewhere around mid-December, roughly, and again, I'm pulling from memory, but I believe this is accurate, somewhere around there, XRP started this crazy bull run where it went from something like 25 cents or so all the way up to close to $3.80. So it was flat for about half a year, more or less. It was trading within a narrow band of volatility is the best way I could phrase that. And so, again here, just because Bitcoin starts blowing up, and it has had, to be fair, it has had greater returns in the calendar year of 2019 than XRP, but the returns for XRP should be, in my opinion, much more substantial. You're just seeing a situation. History has shown this anyway, and I suspect it's no different now. Not financial advice, but you've seen instances historically where XRP price, it appears suppressed. Whether it's artificially or whales are doing or whatever it is, it just seems more or less flat for long periods of time. But then you get these really, really, really big bursts, like you saw at the end of 2017. And I have no reason to believe that's not going to happen again. It's behaving like it always does if you look at charts historically. And I made a video of this. If you want to look, I don't know if it's 3 or 4 weeks ago, the video is called something along the lines of, why is XRP price stuck at 30 cents? Wouldn't you like to see that price? Now it's over 40 cents now. But it was called something like that. So if you're interested in the topic, I graphically illustrate within that video. If you want to look at the screen, I pull up a bunch of actual charts, and you can see historically how XRP has behaved price-wise in calendar years. I illustrate the point, because I hadn't seen anybody do that before, that XRP price, it just stays flat and it's for a longer period of time. As for the reason behind that, maybe I could come up with some clever theory on that, but it doesn't really matter. All I can tell you for sure is that it's doing it. You can see it graphically for yourself, so I wanted to share that with you. And then this is cool too. Here's another piece. This is from Cointelegraph, and it's called Coinbase Custody holds $1.3 billion in assets under custody, expects to hit $2 billion soon, with soon being in quotation marks. All right. Coinbase Custody revealed that it holds $1.3 billion in assets under custody, and the firm expects it hits $2 billion soon in a Twitter thread published on June 13th. In a series of tweets, what is evidently the official Coinbase Custody Twitter account reported that last week the company's CEO, Sam Mickenvale, and its Chief Information Security Officer, Philip Martin, visited the United Kingdom. The purpose of the visit was reportedly to discuss the institutional crypto economy with a range of prospects and clients. During the meeting, the firm's representatives argued that, while many believe there are no institutional-grade offerings in the cryptocurrency space, Coinbase Custody is, in fact, such an offering. The firm's representatives stated that the company is insured, regulated, and secure custodian. The thread also specifies, and here's a quote from them. We have $1.3 billion and expect to hit $2 billion soon. We have no intention of stopping there. Coinbase Custody services over 90 clients. Of those, approximately 40% are outside of the U.S. And we're talking about institutional adoption here. So Coinbase couldn't be more bullish in terms of institutional adoption of cryptocurrencies. And as we know, I'm not sure exactly what the share is in terms of what they're trying to convince their customers to purchase or how that works. But we know that Coinbase also holds XRP, and so if somebody's going to have a reasonable, let's call it a reasonable index of cryptocurrencies, kind of like an index fund on the stock market, if you're going to have an index of cryptos, why would you not include XRP in that to some degree? And so, what that does is supply and demand. Even if transactions are completed over the counter, and that doesn't directly impact market rates because it's done behind the scenes, it's not the buying and selling that you see on Binance or Coinbase, so it doesn't make retail speculators react accordingly when there's massive buying and selling by institutional players. Understand that does affect supply and demand, the availability even for purchase on the retail side. So as more people come in, there's less available if an institution already snatched it up, essentially. So again, while OTC transactions, over-the-counter transactions, don't directly play into the price of XRP, indirectly an argument can be made that they do. And that's really cool, because we want supply and demand we want it to do what it does, don't we? Because what's going to happen the more scarce XRP comes, well, supply and demand, it's just going to do its thing, and XRP price over the long haul, I believe, should go up. Of course, not financial advice there. So, and the last tab I pulled up here, I wasn't even really going to talk about this. I just was looking at the volume and the price here, and as I speak, XRP is at 42 cents with a 24-hour volume of 1.6 billion. Yesterday it was around 1 billion. And I did want to point this out. So Bitcoin, it's now trading at a little shy of 8,900, but look at the 24-hour all-time high. And again, this is livecoinwatch.com. Hit a 24-hour high of $9,284.15. So, look, for those that were afraid, the sky's falling and cryptocurrency is dead, when Bitcoin was close to the $3,000 mark, it was pretty close to it, right? Well, cryptocurrencies are not going away. I got news for you there. They're definitely just not going away. And for people that say otherwise, I just want to ask you, how come it's been a decade and still here? This is the most insane scam of all time, if you're correct, and you're not correct. Okay? You're absolutely not correct. How does a bubble inflate and pop 5 times in the span of a decade, but get higher with each passing bubble? Are you kidding me? Come on. Do you not see that there's actual utility to this? And people are valuing it because, especially as it pertains to XRP, there's real-world business use cases. Of course people are going to value that. They're going to attach a dollar value to it. Cryptocurrencies aren't going anywhere. And so it's just going to be proven more and more. And I do like, at least, think what you will of Facebook. Not like I'm some huge fan of them either. I don't even use it. I have an account, and I have for over a decade. I don't use it. Say what you will about them, but look, they add credibility to the crypto sphere because Facebook is a household name. They add credibility. That's my opinion, absolutely. And so as far as the actual utility, are they going to find success in using their Libra platform, their stable coin? I don't know. Probably. They'll probably find some use cases. I believe they got some really smart minds behind it. So if I had to guess, prior to actually having the data, if I just had to guess based on little more than Facebook track record of taking over the planet, I'd say probably, yeah. I know they got smart guys over there. But we'll see. Well, I don't know what my opinion will be for sure as soon as that white paper is released. So I'll report back as soon as I have some new thoughts on this. But that's all I got for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate all the support. I'm amazed. My mind is blown. I just passed 2,000 subscribers today. And I just had my 6-month anniversary of launching this channel yesterday. And to grow to the point where I'm there, it's absolutely. I'm just excited. I really am. So I made a probably too long thank you section at the beginning of my video, but I had to do it because I just really appreciative, and I want to say it again because I just blew through 2,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Feel free to drop any comments below. I do love hearing from you, and I respond to as many comments as I can. I can start to feel a little overwhelming because there can be on videos a lot of comments below. But I do my best to take some time because first of all, I really like hearing it, and I also appreciate it. So let me know if you have any thoughts on these topics, or if there's anything else you want me to cover. You got any constructive criticism? I always want to make my channel better, and one of the best ways I can do that is by getting constructive feedback from you listening to this, because I know I'm not perfect, and hopefully I'm getting better hopefully I'm better now than I was in my first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. But anyway. That's all I got for you. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea.